Oscar Pastri's championship challenge is in serious trouble after yesterday's Brazilian Grand Prix, where a costly penalty and a fifth-place finish left him 24 points behind teammate Lando Norris with just 3 races to go. But what's more concerning than the gap itself is what Pastri said after the race, admitting that there's clearly some things that need to be sorted out before the final triple header begins in Las Vegas. That phrase, "things we need to sort out," tells you everything about where Pastri is right now. This isn't just about one bad result or one unlucky weekend. It's about a driver who's been struggling for over a month and still hasn't found the answers he needs. While Norris delivered a perfect weekend in Brazil with pole position and a win, Pastri was left trying to explain why he's now gone 5 races without a podium and why the car that felt so good earlier in the year has become so difficult to drive. The weekend at Interlagos was supposed to give Pastri a chance to fight back, but instead, it turned into another example of everything that's been going wrong lately. His manager Mark Webber was there watching, and afterwards he spoke about how he's been helping Pastri deal with the pressure of fighting for a championship so early in his career. Webber pointed out that being in a title fight in your 3rd year is really rare, saying, of course, it's a journey for him. Obviously, it's been an incredible journey so early in his career to be fighting for a world title. What Webber was getting at is that only Lewis Hamilton has been in this position so early in an F1 career, and even Hamilton had tough moments when he was learning how to handle the pressure. Webber himself didn't fight for championships until much later in his career, so he understands that Pastri is dealing with something really difficult at a young age. His approach has been to give Pastri an arm around him, encouragement here and there, which sounds like exactly what you'd want from a manager when things aren't going your way. But the problem Pastri is facing goes beyond just mental support or encouragement, because there's a real technical issue that he's been trying to solve for weeks now. McLaren boss Andrea Steller has explained that the low grip conditions at the last few races require a completely different driving style to what Pastri has been using all season. The way he drove the car when he was winning in Monaco and the Netherlands just doesn't work anymore when the track has less grip and the tires are sliding around more. Stella said some of the techniques required to drive the car fast, they resemble a bit the techniques that were required in Austin and Mexico. So like Oscar is sort of learning this technique, embedding this technique, but it may take a bit more time. What he's basically saying is that Pastri needs to learn a new way of driving, and while he's working on it, the championship is slipping away from him. The really tough part is that this new style comes naturally to Norris, which is why he's been so fast lately while Pastri has been struggling. Pastri himself talked about this after the race, saying, "It's kind of one thing adapting to different conditions. But when the way you've driven for the whole season has worked so well, it's kind of difficult to go away from that." You can hear the frustration there, because imagine being told that everything you've been doing right for 8 months suddenly needs to change, and you need to change it right now with only 3 races left. The Brazil weekend made everything even harder because of some weird issues with the track itself. After last year's wet race, the organizers cut drainage grooves into the surface to help water run off. But these grooves ended up causing problems that nobody really expected. When the cars ran over them, it reduced how much the tires were touching the track, which meant more sliding and more tire wear. But it also created a bigger problem with the plank underneath the car wearing down too fast. McLaren discovered after the sprint race that if they kept running the car as low as they wanted to, the plank would wear so much that they'd risk getting disqualified. So they had to raise the ride height, which meant less downforce, which meant less grip. And less grip is exactly what Pastri has been struggling with for the last month. So raising the car just made his problems even worse. He said the car kind of went in a direction that I wasn't a big fan of, and you can tell from that comment how much things were going against him. Yesterday's race showed all these problems coming together in one moment on lap 9. After a safety car restart, Pastri saw a chance to pass Kimi Antonelli for second place going into turn 1, and he went for it. It was an aggressive move, the kind of racing you need to do when you're fighting for a championship. But he locked up the brakes and made contact that sent Antonelli spinning into Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. Leclerc was out immediately with broken suspension, and Pastri got hit with a 10-second penalty that ended any chance of a good result. What's interesting is how Pastri defended the move afterwards, showing he's not backing down even when things aren't going his way. He said, "I got a really good safety car restart and went to the inside. I put myself up the inside pretty comfortably, and there was obviously a bit of a lockup, but I couldn't go any further left than I already was. I can't really just disappear." He made it clear he felt the penalty was harsh, and that he wouldn't change what he did, saying, "The decision is what it is. It was one of a number of difficult moments through today and this weekend, but I wouldn't have done anything differently if I had another chance." That fighting talk is good to see from a championship contender, and even said afterwards that it wasn't all Pastri's fault and that Antonelli could have left more space. But here's the reality. Being aggressive and refusing to back down doesn't matter if you're finishing fifth while your teammate wins. Pastri needs to find a way to channel that fighting spirit into actual results, and he needs to do it in the next 2 weeks before Las Vegas. The admission that there are things we need to sort out is probably the most honest thing Pastri could have said, because it shows he knows the problems are real and they need fixing. But it also raises questions about what exactly those things are. Is it just the driving style? Is it something with the car's setup? Whatever it is, McLaren and Pastri have less than 2 weeks to figure it out. Pastri hasn't given up completely, saying, "I've still got the belief I can go out and win races and win the championship, but things are not coming as easy as I'd like at the moment." That's the kind of thing every driver has to say, but you can hear the tension between what he wants to believe and what's actually happening on track. So, what happens next for Pastri? And can he actually turn this around? Las Vegas in 2 weeks is going to be really important because it's a street circuit with totally different conditions to Brazil, Austin, and Mexico. That might give Pastri a fresh start and a chance to find his rhythm again without the low grip issues that have been hurting him. Qatar and Abu Dhabi follow quickly after that, and if he can string together 3 strong performances, the championship could come back to life. But that's a big if when you look at what's been happening lately. Pastri hasn't been on the podium since early September, which means he's gone through Azerbaijan, Singapore, Austin, Mexico, and now Brazil without a top 3 finish. That's not just bad luck or 1 or 2 mistakes. It's a pattern, and patterns are hard to break when you're running out of time. The mental side of this is also going to be tough, because Pastri has watched a 34-point lead from August turn into a 24-point gap going the other way. That kind of swing can really get inside your head as a driver, and he'll need to find a way to stay positive and aggressive without letting desperation creep into his racing. The move on Antonelli showed he's still willing to take risks, but he needs to make those risks pay off, instead of ending up with penalties. For McLaren, the next 3 races are going to test how they handle having both drivers in the championship fight. Do they start favoring Norris now that he's got the bigger lead? Do they let them race freely and risk more incidents? Those decisions could end up being really important. What's certain is that Pastri's time is running out. Las Vegas will probably tell us if this is still a real championship battle or if it's basically over. He's got the talent, he's got the car, and he's got the support from people like Mark Webber who've been through title fights. But none of that matters if he can't find the answers to his problems in the next 2 weeks. Formula One is a sport that doesn't wait for anyone to figure things out. And right now, it's moving forward whether Oscar Piastri is ready or not.